Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really wild modern financial paradox. Why earning a massive income often leaves people, well, functionally broke. If you've ever looked at high-earning professionals, doctors, corporate directors, tech executives, and wondered how on earth are they stressed about money, or maybe honestly, you've felt that exact tension yourself despite bringing home a great salary, you are in the right place. We're living in this era of the high-income poverty trap. It's this strange, kind of confusing time where you can be classified as rich on a spreadsheet, but you find yourself completely tapped out on a random Tuesday when an unexpected bill hits. So in this explainer, we're going to dissect the data, the psychology, and the hidden mechanics of modern wealth to understand exactly why this happens, and more importantly, how you can avoid stepping into the trap yourself. The thing is, we so often confuse the mere appearance of wealth with actual, tangible financial security. Just picture the contrast here. Think about a guy in a sharp, perfectly tailored suit, stepping out of a brand new leased BMW. Society basically screams at us that this guy is winning the game of life, right? We're totally conditioned to see him as the ultimate success story. But now contrast him with another guy, driving a 7-year-old Toyota Camry, sitting at his desk, just eating a homemade turkey sandwich. As we dig into how money actually moves and compounds behind the scenes, we realize something pretty shocking. That traditional millionaire title, it's become a brilliant decoy. Actually, more often than not, the guy in the BMW is absolutely drowning in a sea of monthly obligations. Meanwhile, the guy in the Camry, he holds the real power. He actually has the freedom to walk away. If you're thinking that hitting a six-figure salary automatically buys you freedom, you really need to let this sink in. 41% of Americans earning over $300,000 a year are currently living paycheck to paycheck. Take a second to just process that. 41%. This isn't a typo, it's not some wild exaggeration, it's hard, sobering data from a recent Goldman Sachs retirement survey. And it gets crazier. If you drop that income threshold down to a still very impressive $100,000, the number of people running completely dry before their next direct deposit jumps to nearly half, 50%. A high income absolutely does not automatically generate wealth. For a lot of people, a bigger paycheck really just buys them a much faster, way more expensive treadmill. They're basically running twice as hard just to stay in the exact same spot. Which brings us to what I like to call the iceberg metaphor. When you sit in rooms with accountants and wealth managers, you learn super quickly that the part of wealth above the waterline, that highly visible 10%, is exactly where most people pour their money. Why? To signal their status to the world. It's the designer bag, the $1,400 monthly Porsche, those perfectly curated luxury vacation photos. It's loud and it's obvious. But underneath the surface, that massive 90% block of ice that actually keeps the whole thing afloat is entirely invisible. It's the index funds compounding in absolute silence. It's the maxed out tax-advantaged accounts. This whole illusion of paper wealth happens when someone builds a massive, highly visible tip for everyone to admire, but they have absolutely zero mass below the surface to support it. And what happens? Well, when the sun hits, say in the form of brutal inflation, a sudden layoff, or a sharp market dip, that visible tip literally just melts away into nothing. And this dynamic exposes the median millionaire paradox. The financial advice industry absolutely loves selling us those glossy brochures of the millionaire dream. But here's the stark, totally unglamorous reality. There are 24 millionaires in America right now, and 2/3 of them do not feel wealthy at all. Just look at this breakdown. For that barely millionaire category, a massive 66% of their wealth, the entire dominant chunk of that pie, is locked inside a primary home or trapped in a retirement account they literally cannot legally touch for decades without triggering massive IRS penalties. They are millionaires on paper only. Think about it. If you have a $1.1 million net worth, but 800 grand of it is just home equity, you aren't actually wealthy. You're just a highly leveraged resident of a really expensive zip code. I mean, you can't exactly slice off a piece of your roof to go buy groceries, right? Take Helen's story, for example. She holds that highly coveted $1 million paper net worth. But if you look closely, she's out there buying store-brand everything and stressing over the electric bill because her wealth isn't working capital. It's totally illiquid. It's basically just expensive furniture sitting in the lobby of her life. Sure, her luxury minivan might have heated leather seats, but her actual checking account has absolutely zero slack. Now contrast her reality with a disciplined middle-class saver. This person only has $400,000 to their name, but the massive difference here is that it's entirely in liquid index funds. They can actually access it. This saver has true working capital and possesses the ultimate unquantifiable luxury, having real options on a random Tuesday afternoon. They can quit a toxic job, take a sabbatical, pivot careers, while Helen, she's completely stuck.
And that feeling of being stuck, that brings us to the golden handcuffs. Let's talk about Marcus. So Marcus earns a fantastic salary in Nashville. He bought his dream home back in 2021, brilliantly locking in a 3% mortgage rate. On paper, his net worth is absolutely soaring because of equity appreciation. He feels like a financial genius. But look at the trap that's quietly formed around him. His wife suddenly gets offered a life-changing, absolute dream job in Austin with a massive 30% raise. It is everything they wanted, but they can't take it. Why? Because selling their paper wealth in Nashville means they have to trade that beautiful 3% rate for a new 6.5% rate in Austin. Even with that 30% raise, that rate swap causes their monthly mortgage payment to violently spike by $900 just to maintain the exact same lifestyle they have right now. Marcus doesn't own the house. The interest rate owns him. His wealth is a complete illusion because it provides zero career or geographic optionality.
High earners so often stay stuck in these traps because of what we call the comfort premium. This is where you pay for the feeling of success, which unknowingly creates this massive, silent leak in your financial foundation. Think about your own spending habits for just a second. Be really honest with yourself. Are you paying for the actual utility of a product, or are you paying for the feeling it gives you when other people see you with it? You might buy a $50,000 truck because it feels like a badge of rugged accomplishment, even though it loses 20% of its value the absolute second you proudly drive it off the dealership lot. It's kind of absurd when you really think about it, right? We are culturally conditioned to seek out this comfort and project the success. But this premium is quietly, methodically undermining our ability to build that invisible mass below the waterline of our financial iceberg. And while you're obsessing over the odometer of your total net worth, you might be entirely ignoring your GPS pace. You could literally be bleeding cash every month on unused services and clever branding illusions. We call this the leaky bucket. Every single comfort-driven decision pokes another tiny hole, and the coins just keep slipping out. You might feel this rush of dopamine because your home value ticked up a few grand on some real estate app, but meanwhile, you're hemorrhaging $432 every single month in pure lifestyle friction. And where's it all going? It's going to those premium gym memberships you haven't swiped since January, archaic $147 cable bills for channels you literally never watch, name-brand groceries that are manufactured in the exact same facility as the store brand sitting just one shelf down. It is maddening. It's just money walking right out the back door while you're staring intently out the front window. But honestly, the most shocking leak in the bucket is the invisible tax. Notice that massive number right there, $170,000. That is the true devastating cost of a 1% annual fee on a standard $200,000 portfolio over 3 decades. 1% sounds so incredibly small, doesn't it? It feels completely harmless. It feels like you're just paying for a nice, reassuring voice on the phone and a neatly formatted, colorful quarterly PDF in your inbox. But let the compounding math speak for itself here. You aren't paying for elite financial advice. You are paying a $170,000 comfort premium just for someone to periodically pat you on the back and tell you it's going to be okay. This one invisible leak destroys more generational wealth than any bad crypto meme or volatile stock ever could. Okay, so to escape this cycle of leaks, we have to look really closely at the denominator problem. Most people fixate entirely on the top line, right? Growing their income, pushing up their net worth. But the ultimate secret actually lies in the denominator, your underlying lifestyle cost. Let's look at my friend Daniel's situation here. Under the illusion column, he earned an impressive $200,000, but he spent 120 grand of it funding a highly stressed life that he was actually pretty miserable in. Because of that heavy spend, he firmly believed he needed to just grind until he hit a $2 million net worth to finally be free. But when we audited his denominator, we discovered he could live a much richer, vastly more intentional life on just $80,000. By cutting that excess waste, look at the reality column. He didn't need to work another decade. He was already free. He had just been measuring the wrong line all along. The math behind this is genuinely life-changing. If we look at the standard 4% withdrawal rate rule, every single dollar you trim from your lifestyle eliminates the need to amass $25 in investments. Let that equation really settle in your mind for a second. This means Daniel didn't just save $40,000 of annual waste. By permanently cutting that spending, he literally reduced his required freedom number by an entire $1 million. It's basically a superpower. When you internalize this balance, your perspective on every single purchase fundamentally changes. You stop asking that dangerous question, hey, can I afford this monthly payment? And you start asking the empowering question,
Am I willing to trap 25 times this amount in my portfolio just to sustain this fleeting habit?
So, how do you actually break this illusion? Here are 3 concrete mathematical steps you can take in the next 48 hours to start building an actionable exit strategy. First, calculate your investable net worth right now. Strip out your primary home and your car entirely. Be totally ruthless about it. What is left is your actual working capital. And hey, if that number isn't at least $100,000, you are still bracing for impact and you need to adjust. Second, audit that nice voice tax. Check your expense ratios, your platform costs, your advisor fees. If you're paying over 0.5% all in, you are voluntarily reassigning a decade of your family's future security to someone else. Finally, define your denominator. Be brutally honest about what your life costs when every expense is a conscious choice, not just a default habit, and multiply that annual number by 25. That right there is your actual mathematical finish line.
At the end of the day, true financial independence isn't built on shiny status symbols or massive houses that just lock you in place. It's built in silence. Lazy, highly disciplined investing has built far more lasting family fortunes than flashy cars and oversized mortgages ever will. Maintaining the mere appearance of wealth is incredibly exhausting, constantly demanding more of your time and your peace. But true, invisible wealth, that provides the ultimate luxury, the freedom of mind to just live on your own terms. So as you look at your own financial iceberg moving forward, you have a vital, urgent choice to make. Are you going to keep watching the showroom, or are you ready to start building the gap?